Hi there. Welcome to Becoming the Self-Led Woman podcast. My name is Monica, and this is a weekly podcast for modern women in which we will explore different topics such as self-leadership, personal growth, financial empowerment, feminine wisdom, all sorts of things that help us understand how can we navigate nowadays as a modern woman. You can think of it as a coffee chat that you can have with an older sister. So here I am as your older sister that I am sharing honest, supportive, practical insights that can help you create the life that feels more aligned, more empowered, and really more heart-led and authentic. So this week, let's talk about visualization because this is a very important part when it comes to manifesting our desires, our dream life. And if you've been long enough in the personal development world, in the spirituality world, you probably are familiar with manifestation, what it is. But for those who never heard about manifestation, what manifestation is about aligning ourselves with what we want to create or attract to our lives, what we want to make happen also, to make our dreams come true. So, how we can do this in the practical way? It is about being clear with what you really desire. So, basic example. Let's say that you want to go to a university or you want to have a certain job or get into a certain career. What you usually do is you will start to think, okay, how can I actually achieve that? And then you will lay out the steps you need to take to go there toward your goal. So you might start to get the proper education that you need. You get yourself prepared, then you put in the effort. So you might, for example, prepare for your interviews if you're going toward a job. So that is the more physical part of the manifestation. However, there is a more internal side to manifesting, a more spiritual side as well, which is to energetically aligning ourselves towards the goals that we want to manifest, the dream life that we want. So, for example, let's say that I want to manifest the dream relationship that I really want. I want my dream husband. Then, besides going, for example, to dating apps, to socializing, to meeting new people, there are actually a lot of inner work that we can do. For example, how can one become the partner that we want to manifest? Because, for example, if I want a husband that is sensitive, of integrity, that is honest, am I actually embodying these traits myself? Because I cannot really ask for a person that is so good with so many qualities, but then I don't really have any relational skills, let's say. So, to manifest the dream husband, I also need to work on myself to become the dream wife for my dream husband. And this is often what it means to energetically align ourselves to the desires that we have. And here is also where visualization actually comes in. And visualization is actually a big part of manifestation because first, it helps us having a clearer understanding, a clear vision of what we really, really want to manifest. Because, for example, we hear a lot about, oh, if you want to put in the effort and make sure that it is actually resulting in something, you need to work smart, not just work hard. So, visualization and being very clear with what you desire is really, really important because without clarity, you're actually not so motivated and you're quite lost and dispersing with your energy without the direction. And then there is also this very powerful aspect when it comes to visualization is that when you visualize something, it actually pulls out emotions from within. So when you're visualizing, let's say that you want your dream job or again, your dream husband, really caring for you, loving you. you will start to really get into the nuances of how it really feels like for you to be cared for. And that is actually training your brain and your heart to become more and more receptive of the possibilities of being taken care in a certain way. So, there is a study that I cannot remember the source, but it was about some people in a scientific study in which there was a group of people who practiced something, let's say playing the piano every day. And then there is a group of people who only visualize it practicing in their mind. So they imagined the scenario in which they were practicing playing piano. And after a certain period of time, when they did some brain scans, they noticed that the similar or even the same areas of their brains were actually activated. So those who didn't really touch the piano with their hands, with their fingers, their region of the brain that is the same from those who actually played the piano and practiced it in real life, it is actually the same. And this is so fascinating because when you really dissect the mechanism of visualization, when you're visualizing, you're really exploring certain scenarios and you're really opening up to new possibilities and exploring how those possibilities might look like, how those possibilities might feel like, how it feels to be inside those possibilities. And when you're doing so, you're being more open now subconsciously to what you're visualizing. So let's say that you are visualizing massages, which is one of the things that is a recurring theme for me. And you've been visualizing it, feeling, oh, how good it could be that I feel this full body massage with this relaxing music. And now your subconscious is paying more attention to it. So now imagine that you're going on your day out in the public. You might see announcements like ads that talks about massages. And if you're on social media, on Instagram, let's say, then during the scrolling, your brain might pay extra attention if there are ads related to spa, massages. So the more open you become to a certain thing, the more you might actually notice it in your environment. And also the more you are actually aligning with it, becoming a match to it. So for example, if you are visualizing yourself as a woman with this husband again, and you're visualizing this relationship that feels so good, where you feel seen, heard, and cared for. There is this friendship, banter, laughing. Now, this visualization is helping you to open up your heart, and you're becoming more and more receptive. You're being in the good mood. So now, when you go on dates, or even if you're not going on dates, but you are going about your date, just doing your everyday walk, for example, at the park or even at your day job. Now, because you're in a better mood, you're more heart open, you're more receptive to socialize and interact with people in a heart led manner. And that in itself is already magnetic, and people might not be able to tell what's happening, but they feel this magnetism, this pull toward you. So, visualization is such a powerful thing that we can do to first get in touch that what is it that we really, really desire from our hearts, from our inner world. Then we gradually open up to what does it look like? What can it look like if I were to experience this in my life? And then you gradually feel all these feelings, all these emotions opening up within you. So now you're emotionally more open and receptive, and now subconsciously you're paying more and more attention. So, what people usually recommend, and I also do that, is that we can visualize before we sleep and right after we wake up. Because before we sleep is usually when our minds are gradually dropping all these defenses and stress accumulated during the daytime. And of course, it's also important if we can be in this state where we are just chilling and letting go of the worries of all the tasks, of the to do lists that we have during the day, which might not be easy. But if you really can gradually achieve this relaxing moment for yourself and just be more present and just allowing yourself to decompress. And visualization doesn't have to be so formal. Like, oh, I need to do it this way. I need to visualize all these steps. No, but actually allow yourself to fantasize a bit, to just have some fun. Like, for example, if I want to visualize self with a future husband, I don't need to be so structured like, oh, he needs to be like this and that and etc. Now I am going to visualize our day to day life. I need to visualize this and that. But actually, allow whatever that comes to your mind and whatever that might feel delicious, and just let yourself roll with it. Like, maybe I would like to have a massage for my future husband. Like, how does it look like? Or maybe he makes me some dessert. How does it feel like? And then just imagine that. And then another day, you might even, oh, what does it feel like to have my husband with me on the sofa and just watch Netflix together? Like, watch our favorite series together and have fun commenting on that. So, the same, for example, is with our projects, businesses. Like, we don't need to force ourselves to necessarily imagine something grandiose, something really big. But for example, how might it feel like if one day I just talk in a podcast with someone I really admire and respect? Maybe, how does it even feel like that? Oh, I have this idea. What does it feel like to start entertaining it? How would it feel like if I launched it? For example, if I want more abundance and prosperity, like how does it feel like a morning when I'm my future self? I already have some money in my account that allows me a degree of freedom. What would the things that I choose to do in the morning? Sometimes we think that we need to start with big dreams, like visualize everything the whole day as a millionaire. But sometimes just the small things, like, wow, I actually could get myself a 100 euros spa day without feeling guilty. How would it feel like? But of course, it might not always be easy, especially many of us women. We learn to feel often that, oh, what we desire or what we feel might be too much, or that I shouldn't ask for that much. And then we have some guilt associated with it, or feel that, oh, there's no way that I might get it. So sometimes it's normal that we might feel our body tensing up. We are visualizing something. However, if you find moments like this during visualizations, it can actually be a good sign because it often leads us to the origins of certain blocks that are within us, so that when we actually notice them, instead of feeling, oh, well, why am I feeling so blocked? Why am I feeling all this? Here it goes again, which is part of a critical voice that many women actually have within them. Maybe look at it from a place of curiosity instead, like, oh, I don't feel very comfortable with this visualization. So, why am I not feeling comfortable? Maybe I really feel that it is too much, but then why do I really feel that would be too much? Is it really that much to ask for a massage? Or is it really that much to ask for a good husband? Or is it too much to have ideas for businesses and I don't feel confident that I can achieve that? And then actually be your own best friend. Your best friend wouldn't really tell you that, oh, you cannot manifest this. It's too much for you. You don't have the skills for that. And honestly, if you have friends like that, just release them. But you wouldn't tell these kind of things to your best friend, right? You would actually look at her and say, hey, you have always been so amazing, and remember that time that you achieved this and that and etc. And maybe you thought that you couldn't, but you ended up doing it. And you be your own cheerleader, you be your own best friend from a place of compassion and curiosity. Like, hey, what is really behind it? What is really behind these feelings of insecurities, of not feeling capable? And what are the counter beliefs that you can present yourself? And also having the understanding like, hey, you are just human. And maybe certain things happen in your life that led to less confidence, but it is okay because you're still so capable. And if you're spiritual, there is this saying from one of my favorite teachers that says that God didn't put a desire within you so that you would suffer with it by not manifesting it. And listen to me, because even if you're not spiritual, there is a logic to it. Is that your subconscious, if there is a desire from it, there is often a reason and there is often a belief that you can actually achieve it. Your subconscious is a very sophisticated system. If it is making certain desires conscious, it is because it wants you to start manifesting it, start to align with it. And when insecurities and doubts and fears come up, it is a sign that the subconscious feels that you are ready to process those fears, those insecurities, those blockages. So, what I would recommend if you want to start visualizing to manifest what you desire is to actually do it in the form of allowing yourself to fantasize. So, if you have a desire that is coming up, then allow yourself to play with it, to fantasize about it. So let's say that there is this trip to this specific country that you have really, really been desiring about it. Allow yourself to fantasize about it as if you are already experiencing it. And fantasizing is not really about planning. Actually, already imagining yourself, for example, making the bags, or you're already at the airport, or you're even already there. Maybe you're in Paris at a coffee store, enjoying this dessert. Maybe it's summer and it feels hot, but there's this comfortable breeze around you. You're in this beautiful dress, or you're with your backpack, walking around, visiting the city. How does it feel like? Just imagine the feeling of it. And you see, many people, when it comes to manifestation and visualization, they say don't hang on to the outcome. Because the more you hang on to how it should happen, then you're actually suffocating and limiting the possibilities of how your desire might actually come true. For example, let's say that, oh, I am imagining that it's only by airplane that I'm going to Paris. And I am too fixated on, oh, it has to be this way. Then what happens is that subconsciously, we are just seeing this way as the only way that it can happen. But then we can actually arrive to Paris in different ways. For example, if you live in Europe, you can also arrive there by car, by train. And the beauty of life is that you never know how it might happen. So when you're visualizing, the beauty of doing it in the fantasy way is that whenever you fantasize, you're just, fantasizing. So maybe one day you fantasize about going there by car, then another day you fantasize going there by train. And you're really not focused on how it must happen. So you're basically just open to different possibilities. But the core feelings that you want to feel, which is the feeling that it gives you when you feel that you're in Paris, that's the clarity within you that aligns with what you want to manifest. And this is actually also the fastest way to at least temporarily embody the energy, the feelings, the traits that aligns with your dreams, your desires. So many people say that, oh, to manifest, you have to embody the energy, the traits of a person that aligns with what you dream, you want to manifest. But you don't necessarily need to, in your daily life, fake it until you make it. But actually, when you do it in the form of fantasizing, you are already having this temporary alignment with what you desire, which actually helps you align closer and closer every time you fantasize, and also becoming more and more open to possibilities that help you align, as well as paying more attention subconsciously to the possible opportunities within your environment. Fantasizing is also one of the best ways, at least in my experience, to actually not worry about the outcome because each time you're just fantasizing and you're focusing on feeling good instead of, oh, is it working now? Is it working now? So if I make visualization something fun to, for example, visualize, fantasize my future husband, it's something more fun for me compared to, oh, let me figure out the list of the things that he must have or that I must experience, how I must meet him in a certain way, etc. But actually, fantasizing in the way that, maybe it would feel good if I bump into him at my favorite coffee place. And then maybe tomorrow I might fantasize, what if I met him in a personal development event? It's like the core feeling of, oh, I want to manifest a husband that is caring, that is loyal, that is honest. The core feeling is there, but there are so many ways that I can fantasize about it. And each time I fantasize about it, it makes me feel good. It makes my heart open. Then I become more and more open to love, and people can sense it. Then there is this subconscious magnetism that I am emanating. So, my dear listener, this week I am going to invite you to come up with what is it that right now would be delicious and fun to visualize, to fantasize, and how would it feel like to do so in different moments during my day to day life? So, as always, maybe you can grab a latte, a coffee, a tea, maybe get some dessert, or you might even get a massage while you fantasize about something. Do you know that sometimes when we are pampering ourselves, those are the times that when we are so relaxed, so enjoying the moment, we get a lot of nudges of ideas, whether it is business ideas, ideas to make your dream life come true. When we are relaxed, when we are feeling good, those are the times that creativity can actually thrive.